My small setting already looks like a mess. Hey, strangers. It's me, Hunter, the stranger that talks to strangers. How's your week going? My week is going pretty well. If this light flickers, I'm sorry. My week is going pretty well. I moved from Pennsylvania to California, so that's a pretty big deal. I'm a travel nurse, so that happens often, but still fun nonetheless. Anyway, why am I doing this? See, when I watched YouTube, YouTube was different, and that's what happens to social media platforms. It doesn't matter. As long as the social media platform is getting bigger, it's going to change. And I'm not mad at the change. I think YouTube is still a beautiful place, but I'd be lying if I said that I'm not nostalgic for an old style of video. And I guess what I'm referring to is back in the day, I really liked watching commentary videos. That is when typically people would play Call of Duty videos and then talk over them. Now, back in the day, it started off where people would talk about how to do certain glitches on video games or the best spot to camp and quickscope people. I don't know. I'm not really a video game player. But what I do know is that commentary style evolved. And it evolved in a way where people started talking about stories and advice and emotions they felt during certain events. And a large part of that shaped me growing up. I found myself coming home from school all the time, getting ready to listen to my favorite creator and hear their inner thoughts. And even though that parasocial relationship isn't really healthy, what was healthy was I was getting advice where I otherwise wasn't getting it. I guess what I mean by that is sometimes I needed advice on things that I felt no one could help me with. But the person that could help me was the person I was ready to watch on YouTube. So it was almost like I was getting advice from an older brother or an older sister. This long rant is all for me to say that I want to get back to something more personal like that. I have an inbox where you can anonymously send questions, ask me for advice, or just give me your story, and we can talk about them here. So to prevent me from further ranting, I'm going to go into the inbox and open up the first question or story or whatever it's going to be. Since I'm not a cracked video game player and I don't want to embarrass myself with gameplay footage, it's just going to be me talking into my phone, looking at this camera, and this light flickering randomly. I still love my first love, and after 15 years of waiting, I think it's really done between us. I want to move on, but I seem like I can't. Any advice? I don't know the dynamic of your relationship. I don't know what went on. I also don't know what you mean by after 15 years of waiting, I think it's really done between us. I can only infer. And what I'm inferring is that you broke up and it's been 15 years and the person still hasn't come back to you. And that's hard and I'm sorry. But I will say, after 15 years of waiting, I think that you don't need advice. I think maybe you just need to hear it come from someone. So I'm not trying to be rude when I say this. Sometimes people need water thrown in their face, or sometimes they need to be shown what's really happening in front of them. Now, I'm assuming this person isn't leading you on. I'm assuming this person isn't messaging you randomly, telling you that, hey, maybe someday it's going to work out, maybe someday it's not. If they're doing that, then shame on them. But if they're not, and if they're moving on with their life, if they're doing their thing, and it's just you waiting for them, then I think what you need to hear is that it's over between you two. And that is a very tough pill to swallow, and I'm not sitting here saying that that's going to be easy to digest. But the sooner you can accept that, the sooner you too can move on. Now, I don't want to sound like a philosopher here, but love is a very, very complicated topic. It often doesn't make sense. Even whenever it's completely blissful, it still doesn't make sense. Like, it's these chemicals that go off in your head, and you don't get to choose who your heart falls in love with. And there's platonic and non-platonic love. There's so many things about love that are hard to understand. And I don't think we do understand love. I think it's very difficult to pinpoint what constitutes love. I say all this to let you know that you're not weird. You're not strange for loving this person for so long, even when they don't love you back. If that sounded like a fart, that was the couch. You feel a certain type of way with this person, and there's really nothing you can do about that. But what you can do is how you react to how you feel about that person. So sometimes when we love something a lot and we can't stop ourselves from loving it, it doesn't always mean that that thing is good for us. If you've told this person how you feel, and you've let them know that, hey, I still have feelings for you, and this person hasn't reciprocated that love, then that means that you have to move on. There's nothing you can do about that situation. You can't force someone to love you back. And I don't know what transpired between you two, but it sounds like it's over. Just because you can't be with this person anymore doesn't mean that you can't love the thought of who they were or love the experiences that you had with them. Now, it is over, and you have to recognize that, because it's not healthy to linger around when the person isn't lingering with you. But understand that you went through something with them, and that's beautiful. And that was an amazing chapter in your life, and you should love that you went through that. Life isn't full of chapters that end really beautifully. You're going to have some chapters that are really mangled and some that hurt you. The beauty of life is looking back on those chapters and knowing that certain parts of those chapters shaped who you are. And if you still love the thought of that person, then rest easy knowing that you can always love the thought of that person. But you have to accept that you can no longer love the current person. It is so much easier said than done, but it has to be done. It's a very dangerous situation to be in whenever you have complete unrequited love and you don't recognize it. That pain that you feel, that feeling is going to go away. And the only way it's going to start to go away is recognizing that this isn't worth waiting for anymore. Now, you had your experience with them, and it may have lasted a few weeks, a few months, a few years, but it's done now. Or take that opportunity and learn something beautiful from it. Don't let that time with that person be wasted. Become something better because of it. I don't know all the answers. I really don't. But what I do know is that I've felt heartbreak, and heartbreak hurts. But what I've also felt is life after heartbreak. You may never truly get rid of the pain, but you learn how to live with it, and you learn how to evolve from it. Your heart learns. It's a muscle that can learn. And I hope that you can learn from this that life will move on. And I really wish you the best. So you're not a bad person for still hanging on to this, but you have to recognize that you're hanging on to something that shouldn't be hung on to. When your heart is ready, when you feel open, when you feel healed, you'll love again. And I think you're capable of loving again. So I hope you're all able to take something from this advice. And I'm not saying it's the most sound advice, and there's certainly going to be holes in it. I give porous advice. There's flaws with what I say, but I hope you know that there's good intention behind it. That is it for this video. I hope all of you strangers enjoyed the advice, and I will see you all in the next one. Okay, bye-bye. I'm going to hang up my phone, my microphone first, and then I'm going to...